Thank you very much, Chairperson. I hope that you are able to hear me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all the delegates, and good afternoon to you all. I am very pleased to have the opportunity to speak to all the distinguished delegates at your meeting. I regret that I was unable to join you due to other commitments that I had in South Africa. I must say I'm extremely pleased that there is a gathering of the greatest legal minds to examine the subject of what could be done to add further impetus to action against apartheid Israel for the crimes against humanity that have been committed over many years against the Palestinian people, and in particular the genocidal actions that we have observed since October 8, 2023. I wish to begin by giving you a perspective on South Africa. I shall be brief, as I have been advised by the organizers. Firstly, in South Africa, I'm often asked the question, what is the interest of South Africa in the just cause of the people of Palestine? And I have to always remind them that when President Nelson Mandela made his first policy speech on foreign policy as the first democratically elected president of a free South Africa, in his speech, he had the statement that South Africa could never be free until Palestine is free. So Mandela left us a legacy and a mandate as South Africa to continue, even as we are now democratic and free, to continue to strive for others who experience oppression in different parts of the world. In the spirit of that commitment, South Africa incorporated peace, justice, and human dignity as part of the constitutional framework of a post-apartheid South Africa. Second point is that when South Africans were struggling for freedom, the leadership of the liberation movements of South Africa went to all corners of the world seeking help for the struggle that they were waging as the oppressed people of South Africa. And in different corners of the world, they approached governments initially and got a refusal of assistance, particularly in the northern parts of the world. But where they found support was in civil society and a range of organized formations. Through that process of engaging the world and explaining the nature of the struggle confronting South Africa, and in particular pointing out the manner in which racist apartheid denied the majority of South Africans human rights, the liberation movement, particularly led by the African National Congress, my organization today, was able to secure a momentous universal movement in solidarity with the freedom fighters of South Africa. And so we know, as free South Africans today, that a major contributor to our struggle was international solidarity. And among those who supported our struggle were the leaders of the Palestinian political organizations at the time when we were speaking to the world. Given that commitment that the then leaders of Palestine and the broader public gave to our struggle against apartheid, we as South Africa have a strong obligation to continue in solidarity with the people of Palestine until they are free. Our relationship with the people of Palestine has many strands to it. It is political, it is civil society, We work with human rights organizations. We work with community organizations. We work with youth formations. So it's a multifaceted relationship, but it is one of struggle, one of shared commitment, and a relationship with a people who understand what oppression means. This is why, as South Africa, we are very confident when we say, in terms of international law, the practices of apartheid against the people of Palestine are very, very akin to the practices of apartheid. Hence, we call Israel a Palestinian state. This is an extremely important point because there is a convention against apartheid, which was adopted by the United Nations in recognition of the crime against humanity of apartheid. And we believe in that convention there are clear stipulations which illustrate in international law that Israel is practicing apartheid practices against the people of Palestine. In the face of the recent onslaught in October 2023, South Africa became extremely alarmed that as the world, we were observing the harm that was being caused to the people of Palestine. And we were not acting to help to save lives. Apart from a humanitarian response by many of our governments, we didn't have a direct challenge to the Israeli state in a freedom struggle to the people of Palestine. We decided, as the government of South Africa, that what we were observing was clearly a genocidal onslaught against the Palestinians. And we knew that Israel was a signatory to the International Convention on Genocide. It is the first state party to that convention. And we, after the demise of apartheid, had become signatory to the convention. And given our belief that genocide was underway, we felt it important to use that international instrument to approach the International Court of Justice, because we felt that the existence of international law is for the protection of the vulnerable and the marginalized. And we thought it important to place this case in an international court so that the world would see international law in action. We felt many countries that are supporting Israel are in breach of international law, and the only means we could make this known to the entire global community was through approaching the ICJ. And so our government took the decision that we would approach the ICJ in terms of the appropriate clauses of the Genocide Convention. We believe we were successful in our first two approaches. We are now busy with the next stage, which is to hear the merits of our allegation on genocide. We have been doing our research work. We have prepared the memorial documents and submitted them late in January. And it is our hope that the ICJ will now give us a date for the hearings on the merits. And we and the countries that have joined us in this action will be at the ICJ in order to pursue this case against Israel. But finally, Excellencies, I wish to say that I don't believe that it is merely legal instruments that would help us to confront this particular evil that is underway against the Palestinian people. We have seen Israel neglecting all the decisions of the International Court of Justice. We have seen Israel neglecting the views of the General Assembly of the United Nations. And we've seen it enjoying support from the most powerful in the world. In fact, just yesterday, an executive order has been signed against South Africa, stopping all American aid to South Africa due to our case at the ICJ and other lies that have been perpetrated against our country. So we believe, Excellencies, that what we have to do now is pay attention to mobilizing international global solidarity, a very powerful instrument against the state of Israel. We've got to persuade sports bodies, faith organizations, trade unions, youth formations all over the world that all of us must join together, as we did against apartheid, join together in this fight against the crime against humanity perpetrated against the Palestinian people. Should we not act speedily, we are going to see worse actions being taken, as is already being threatened against the people of Palestine. And so it is vital that those who speak in support of the just cause for freedom of Palestinians mobilize all friends all over the world to mount the kind of campaign that was mounted in support of the anti-apartheid struggle in support of the people of Palestine. And I hope you, as the learned lawyers of the world, would become part of such a global mobilization. It is the only way in which we will bring full public attention to the cause of Palestine and ensure that all civil forces, all political organs are mobilized in support of their freedom and enjoyment of human rights. I thank you most sincerely for this opportunity. Yes, indeed, we must use all legal avenues available to us, but you have to match the legal with social and political activism. And in joining those together, you then would be able to have the kind of global momentum that will surely bring change and eventually justice to the people of Palestine. I thank you most sincerely. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon to you all.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Your Excellency, for this inspiring speech. We'd like to ask you a few questions before moving to Dr. Anis. I think we'll be having a few questions if anybody would like to ask Her Excellency.
Thank you, Dr. Pandor. First question.
My name is Leo Gabriel, coming from Austria and representing here the Assembly of the World Social Forum, which is taking place as a gathering of tens of thousands of representatives of social movements every 2 years. I cannot more than agree with what the foreign minister just has said, and I was asking myself in the first round, what do you do with a state which does not recognize any standards of human rights, of laws, of all these compounds which many of us are representing in that way? And there is an answer to it. It's an answer to, like the minister pointed out, of a general global mobilization. But for what? What could be the rule, the strategy to go from A, this horrible state we are here, to B, which is the liberation of the people of Palestine? And we came up with a proposal, with two proposals, as a matter of fact. On the one hand, the only instrument where the United States, as an ally, accomplice of Israel, has not a decisive power, is the Assembly, the General Assembly of the United Nations, where, according to a resolution in 1950, in the case that the Security Council becomes inactive in a situation of a serious threat to world peace, it is the General Assembly which could take the decision to apply Chapter 7 of the Charter of the United Nations, which is to move from talk, from resolutions, which Israel never cared about, to action. And this action means that thousands of soldiers, blue helmet, would intervene in this terrible scenario to guarantee a peaceful transition from A to B. And probably Israel would not accept that. But what is more important, the beheadedness of a single state supported by a superpower, or the representatives of the world, of the peoples of the world, which can, this is a new scenario, and instead of trying to conciliate positions, we have seen that this is not possible. Also, the court is not possible.
Thank you, sir.
Here. We should go for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll be having few more questions, but please make it as short as possible, because we want also to have some time for the answers. Your Excellency, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, hopefully you are hearing the questions.
I'm trying.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your good presentation. I was reading the preamble of the Genocide Convention. The last paragraph says that we need to liberate mankind from the crime of genocide. And I want to say that mankind is not truly liberated from genocide until Palestinians are liberated from Israeli genocide.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, or ideas?
Thank you for your speech. Ms. Pandora, it's always an honor to hear you. My name is Maíra Pinheiro. I'm a lawyer from Brazil. And I would like to hear you talk about the global south and global majority unity in the context that we're living right now. I believe that the global north conceived the international law model in order to subject us. And it's no coincidence that Karim Khan mentioned that some global north leader told him that the ICC was just for Africans and thugs like Putin. I believe that we need to see ourselves as the actual global majority with the Trump policies that are being announced right now. It looks more than ever that we are stronger if we count on each other and if we turn our backs on our former colonizers and oppressors. And we need unity, and we need those systems that count on international organizations. But I believe that in our numbers, we can challenge the logic that is emptying international law of its effectiveness. So I would like to hear what you think of this geopolitical aspect and how we can strengthen the South-South relationship in the struggle.
Thank you very much. Let's have two more questions. Two more questions.
Thank you very much. I have a question. Have you requested any Arab countries to join the case before the International Criminal Court? Also, is there a chance for more countries to join this prosecution? Last question, when is the court expected to issue its order regarding to the crime of genocide in Gaza? Thank you.
Thank you. Last two, very quickly.
شكرا جزيلا. إذا كنا نود أن نتحدث عن العلاقة بين جنوب أفريقيا وفلسطين. العلاقة إلى جانب امتدادها وتشعبها في الإطار السياسي وحتى النضالي، امتدت أيضا إلى الجانب القانوني. عندما تم إقرار البروتوكول الأول لاتفاقيات جنيف، كان أحد أسباب إدراج حروب التحرير الوطني كحروب أو نزاعات مسلحة دولية هو النقاش الدائر بشأن حالة جنوب أفريقيا وكفاحها ضد الفصل العنصري، وحالة الشعب الفلسطيني في كفاحه ضد الاحتلال الإسرائيلي. بالتالي العلاقة هي قديمة ومتأصلة ومتشعبة. فيما يتعلق بجريمة الإبادة الجماعية، إسرائيل لديها حساسية كبيرة، هي تنظر لنفسها على أنها ابنة الإبادة الجماعية، وأحد أسباب شرعية يعني تأسيسها هو ما جرى لليهود في أثناء الحرب العالمية الثانية، حتى أنه للمفارقة لديها قانون أساسا داخلي هو منع جريمة الإبادة الجماعية والمعاقبة عليها، ويعطي اختصاص عالمي للمحاكم الإسرائيلية في النظر لجرائم الإبادة الجماعية التي ارتكبت في أي مكان في العالم.
Thank you very much. I think we have to end it there. Any more questions? Maybe in the second session. Let's end it there. One more question.
شكرا للمنظمين وشكرا دكتور أبو سلام. حقيقة موقف دولة جنوب أفريقيا في المبارزة القانونية التي ظهرت في محكمة العدل الدولية لمواجهة هذا الكيان الغاصب ولإصدار القرارات حول الإبادة الجماعية، وصدرت من المحكمة التدابير الاحترازية التي واجب على دولة الكيان أن تلتزم بها، لكن تعنت دولة الكيان والحماية الغير قانونية ولا أخلاقية من الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية لدولة الكيان والغطاء التي تشكل له أمام مجلس الأمن أدى إلى تعطل تنفيذ هذه التدابير أثناء الحرب وأيضا بعد الحرب. ما هي الإجراءات أمام دولة جنوب أفريقيا في تباطؤ محكمة العدل الدولية في السير في الدعوة، وأيضا لمواجهة تعنت مجلس الأمن لإصدار قرارات إجبار الكيان على الالتزام بالتدابير الاحترازية التي صدرت عن محكمة العدل الدولية؟ شكرا.
I guess we have to translate one comment and one question. Maybe let's take the last one, Dr. Ashraf.
Sure.
So the first comment was talking about the sensitivity of the Israeli regime about being accused of genocide because Israel was founded on that pretext. And the second question is, how could we implement the results of such a trial in ICJ, and what are the ways to take all these results to the UN Security Council? Thank you. دكتور أشرف.
نحن نشكر دولة جنوب أفريقيا على الدعوة التي أقامتها أمام محكمة العدل الدولية، وهذا موقف يعني تاريخي يسجل لها. نحن كل يوم نسمع بهناك ضغوطات وممارسات من الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية وحلفائها على دولة جنوب أفريقيا. هل هذه الممارسات والضغوطات ستؤثر على دولة جنوب أفريقيا من موقفها في الدعوة أمام محكمة العدل الدولية؟ شكرا لكم.
The last question is about Western and American pressure on South Africa and whether that would affect South Africa's role in ICJ. Thank you very much. Doctor.
Yes. Thank you very much, and thank you for those questions. I don't know if I have the competence to answer all of them, but I shall try. Firstly, with respect to the UN General Assembly, I think that we have, as many countries in the South, been arguing very vigorously that one of the things we need is the reform of the United Nations and all its mechanisms and structures. Because as currently construed, it is really constructed in a manner that doesn't serve the interests of developing countries or countries of the South. It is really arranged, particularly its decision making powers on peace and security, in a way that totally excludes the majority from having influence on such decisions. So it is difficult to fully rely on the United Nations and its structures at present. Although I must say many of its institutions have been very outspoken and supportive of the cause of the people of Palestine, and we welcome that. But we know that decisions of the General Assembly, including the resolution on the ceasefire, have been totally ignored by the allies of Israel and by the Israeli government as well. This is why, alongside all the opportunities open in terms of the United Nations Charter, we are calling for political action, for political mobilization, for civil society action, for communities throughout the globe to be informed, educated, and made a partner in what is a very vigorous, active struggle against an evil. This is what we did for apartheid. The world worked with us as South African freedom fighters. And without that support, we would not have achieved our freedom. And so it is vital that we organize in a similar fashion in support of the cause of the people of Palestine. Our lack of activism in this manner has allowed a veneer of respectability and impunity to be part of Israel's characterization of itself. But once we join together to expose its breaches of international law, its war crimes, we will expose to the world community the evil that is being experienced by the people of Palestine. And we need everyone to join in such an exercise. So indeed, chapter 7 is very important, but the final decision would involve the allies of Israel, and they will not support the concerted action that is necessary. Hence, we would need to reform the UN. We would need to relook at the charter, the composition of the Security Council, and the decision-making influence of the UN General Assembly. And all of those are going to take far too long for the urgent necessity to ensure freedom for Palestinians. I think our whole intention in the action South Africa took with the approach to the International Court of Justice was to seek to draw attention to the very terrible harm that is being caused to the people of Palestine. We believe that in the very actions that we've seen since October 2023, indeed a genocide is underway. We are convinced that this is the case. And so we do think we need to continue to use the court, other instruments available to us. We need to be joined by other countries. We've been joined thus far by 7 countries as South Africa, and we need many more to say they confirm that this is evil, and as state parties to the Convention Against Genocide, that they are prepared to be with South Africa in The Hague. We have formed a broader group, the Hague Group, which is also intent on pursuing respect for international law, and in particular, supporting the course at the case at the International Court of Justice. With respect to the global South, we believe that the current toxic global environment is an opportunity for countries of the South to come together in their different formations to articulate a different perspective on the world order and on human rights as compared to what obtains in the public domain today. We need a strong voice from BRICS. We need to hear G77 plus China much more vigorously. We need to revive the spirit of Bandung and have the non-aligned movement articulating freedom and justice far more clearly. The South has lost its voice over many decades, but today it has begun in the various formations to assert itself more clearly. We need to encourage this. The presence of President Lula in Brazil has been extremely important. There are other progressive countries that are prepared to work closely with those of the South, Ireland and Spain being but two. We should marshal all these forces together in order to have a stronger voice of the South and to introduce a different set of progressive principles as the guiding values and principles for our world. I think that the fact that the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court was persuaded by our approach and that of other countries that he should seek an arrest warrant against Prime Minister Netanyahu and members of his cabinet is a very important affirmation of the ICC being ready to take action against any individual that commits a war crime. For us in Africa, it's really one of the first occasions where we've seen the ICC stand up for justice for all. And we are pleased that the Prosecutor Khan, has been so courageous. And you could see immediately that once that courageous step is taken, then suddenly the North does not like the ICC. But when it was Kenyatta of Kenya, they loved the ICC. When it was someone from another African country, they admired the ICC. And yet, when it speaks against the genocide of Israel, then suddenly it becomes sanctioned. We need to speak out. You need to speak out as respected jurists and legal professionals to ensure that the world understands that we observe this trickery, that we're aware of the double standard application of international law, and that it will not be tolerated. I certainly believe the leaders of the South should be standing up more clearly, should be speaking out, and should assert a different set of views, values, and principles than we are seeing from the powerful North today. On the matter of the case, indeed, while we have been joined by 7 significant countries, we would hope many more are considering being part of the case. The international community and civil society are observing progress with the case at the International Court of Justice, and we have been very concerned at the change of leadership of the ICJ, because we know the current president was against our case when we first approached the court. We are hopeful, however, that the Madam President will apply the law as it exists in the Convention on Genocide and not apply a friendship that appears partisan. On the genocide accusation, I think Israel cannot be permitted to be sensitive, because once you direct harmful action toward a group and you make public statements that indicate your intention to harm a group of people, you are intending genocide. All the actions we have seen by Israel's army, by its government, by its leaders, up to this point, have clearly indicated an intention to commit genocide. I do not know what you might call denial of food, denial of water, denial of energy resources. I do not know what you would call moving people from the south to the north and killing them as they carry out your instruction. All we would call it in terms of the convention is genocide. And so I think the time for sensitivity about how Israel would feel with the concept. It is a state party to the concept. It understood when it signed it exactly what the provisions are. And if you look at the appropriate provisions of the convention, it is undisputable that, in fact, genocide is underway. Finally, we need to pressure the government of Israel to honor the decisions of the International Court of Justice. Because you cannot, on one instance, claim that you practice international law, and then when it suits you, you breach international law. So we need to become better at publicly calling out when there is breaching of international law, when crimes of humanity against humanity are being committed. The world has been too silent. We've allowed impunity. We've allowed the Palestinian people to be oppressed for over 7 decades. The time has come for all of us, all men and women, to stand up and ensure that freedom is enjoyed by Palestinian people and all who are oppressed all over the world. With respect to American pressure on our country, indeed, there's already pressure. In fact, there's an executive action against South Africa sanctioning South Africa signed yesterday. It is based on baseless lies about our country. It makes reference to the International Court of Justice and our case against Israel. We are very clear that in pursuing the case, we do not hate Jewish people. We hate injustice. We hate that the people of Palestine do not enjoy freedom. And so we believe we are acting appropriately in terms of international law. We will be steadfast, as our president indicated day before yesterday, in pursuit of the case at the ICJ. We will maintain and strengthen our relationship with the Palestinian people, because as President Mandela directed us, we will not be completely free until the people of Palestine are free. That is a legacy he left to us, and I, as the current new chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, I have an obligation to continue to pursue this matter of justice. I believe I have answered the questions, and I thank you once more most sincerely for allowing me the privilege of addressing such learned men and women today. Thank you very much.